You are now tuned in to Poppy Chulo Radio, your web portal for the best in pop culture news and interviews. The following is a Poppy Chulo Radio original program. The views and opinions expressed in the commentaries and/or interviews in the following program are solely those of the individuals and are not views of Poppy Chulo Radio, its parent, affiliate, or subsidiary companies.
Welcome to Summer Camp Science Fiction / Double Feature, a celebration honoring the late night double feature picture show, a PoppyChuloRadio.com original series, Poppy Chulo Radio, pop culture on demand. I am your host and camp owner, Jeffrey Aruz. During this special edition of Summer Camp, we are going to discuss every single film mentioned in the opening song of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Please welcome my co-hosts who've been caught in a celluloid jam. Ticket taker, Legionnaire.
Here we go gathering nuts in May, nuts in May, nuts in May. Here we go gathering nuts in May on a cold and frosty morning.
Yes. You love to gather a nut in May, don't you?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Oh, okay. Concessions connoisseur, Parker James.
Stop. Hello, y'all. Hello.
And popcorn popper, Osiris.
Come along now. Come quietly, unless you want me to put the handcuffs on.
I feel like you've used that line before.
I definitely am going to start using this line a lot more.
All right, maybe in Berlin.
I mean, I do have handcuffs.
But in Berlin?
I don't know anything about Berlin.
Oh, okay, all right. It's redacted.
You don't know anything about Berlin? Oh my God.
No.
Take my breath away.
I'm playing the fifth.
You need
All
to
right.
attend Folsom Europe, my man.
I have heard about it. I have definitely put it on my list of places to visit.
Yes, I will definitely recommend it. Put it on your list. Put it on the to-do.
But much to do.
About nothing. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh.
It's time to fire up the film projector so that we can discuss 1933's The Invisible Man. Here's the official synopsis of the film. A scientist finds a way of becoming invisible. But in doing so, he becomes murderously insane. You got that right. Okay, before I ask everybody if they have seen this movie before, the big question that I always ask, I will say, as we are continuing along our tribute to the song Science Fiction Double Feature from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, this is the next film that is mentioned in the song, and to quote the actual line, it's a very simple and straightforward line, but here it is. Claude Rains was the Invisible Man, which is factually accurate. So yes, so now it's time for the big question. From the year 1933, The Invisible Man. Have you ever seen it before? Have you heard of it? Are you familiar with it? Legionnaire?
Yes, I am familiar with it. I hadn't seen it in a long time, but yes, I had seen it before.
Parker? I know you love a black and white movie.
I do. This week is an interesting set of movies, but surprisingly, I've seen them both. But for this specific question, yes, I have seen this movie. It's been a very, very long time, but yes.
All right. Mr. Osiris? Dr. Osiris, sorry.
I surprisingly have not watched this movie. However, I did watch the Kevin Bacon iteration of it, And I have read this story.
I don't think Kevin Bacon starred in. Maybe he starred in a movie where he was invisible, because there was an Invisible Man recently-ish. But I don't think that was Kevin Bacon.
Was the Hollow Man.
He was the Hollow Man. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh. Well, I mean,
It's different to be hollow than
It
invisible.
was Invisible Man-ish.
Yeah, it was Invisible Man adjacent.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, there you go. He was hollow, not invisible.
Well, and I did say an iteration.
No, you
Yes.
didn't. Well, I mean, it's not an iteration of it, though.
Felt like it.
Oh, okay. Moving on. All right. I have heard of this movie, but I have never seen it before. So, yes, I was actually surprised that I hadn't seen it before. But, yeah, so here we go. All right, Claude Rains. Claude Rains literally had like 20 seconds of actual visible screen time in this movie. So props to him. One of the reasons that I read that he was cast is because of his voice. His voice is very distinct. He can enunciate and all that kind of stuff. And they really wanted someone that spoke clearly as the Invisible Man because, you know, clearly, no pun intended, we weren't going to see him, right? So we had to have somebody with a great voice. And I will say he had a very good voice. Now, I do have casting scoop because there was somebody that was supposed to be the Invisible Man, but they were not selected to be the Invisible Man because of a lisp.
Because of a lisp. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't know any actors around this time.
Well, we knew that.
Oh,
You're but 27, remember?
I mean, you know, I'm just trying to keep it the company standard.
Okay.
oh,
Well, in that time, I could only,
It's one of the obvious ones.
yeah, I mean, the first one that comes to my mind it would be Boris Karloff during
Ye-
that time.
Yes, you are right.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they did not like his voice.
I didn't know he had a lisp though. That's surprising.
Apparently, that's what they said. I don't know if I remember him being lispy, but that's what I
maybe it
read.
was just light lisp. Because, you know, you can have, your tongue could, you know, does different things.
Oh yes,
It
a
was
light lisp. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Right.
did want
Girl,
somebody that-
stop it. Light lisp.
No, but they really wanted someone that would enunciate. So I guess he couldn't give them what they wanted. And so they ended up picking, weirdly enough, what is it that I read? I think they like watched some test footage of Claude Rains and like they heard the voice of the test footage and, or it was like playing in the studio or something. And that's how they ended up selecting Claude Rains, who at the time was relatively, I mean, he hadn't done much. So there was that. I liked his voice. Yeah, I mean, Jack Griffin, Dr. Jack Griffin, who he plays. First of all, what an asshole. Second of, yes, I mean, just like pompous, bombastic, but delightful as sort of like a villain. But yeah, what an interesting movie. I mean, this is 1933. Like we just got done watching Flash Gordon. And our girl Deidre, who's not here with us today, was very persnickety about it, as Osiris would co-sign, about the visual effects and about everything, right? But here we are once again, we're still in the past. We're in the 30s. And what an impressive thing that they did with how they made the Invisible Man visible, in air quotes, right? Like how we are able to see that this person is invisible. And this is in an era before green screens. And from what I read, they wrapped Claude Rains in black velvet. And in essence, they were doing green screen without like the green screen technology that ended up being developed to do green screen. Like it is crazy what they did. I thought it was visually impressive for the 30s. I mean, sure, there are moments where, you know, it looks a little wonky, right? But it's the 1930s. Like the technology, that kind of technology was insanely primitive. but for what they did, I was
Mhm.
like, damn, like this is impressive for what they could do back in the day, right, Legionnaire?
I would agree. That was the first thing that struck me watching the movie today. Well, in this particular time, that uh, for the 30s, that type of those type of effects were impressive. I wouldn't have imagined how they would have pulled it off.
Yeah, and I would say even today, I mean, it's still impressive. You know, it's almost 100 years later, right? And
Mhm.
even though, I mean, as I said, it looks very primitive to what we can do today. But for back then, I'm like, wow, like I could see myself in a movie theater being like, how the hell do they do that? Like just being mesmerized at, an invisible person.
It's
Mm.
like the definition of movie magic. Like,
Yes, bingo.
like wherever that phrase came from, it was probably because of this movie. Like, yeah, yeah.
I could definitely see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. Like in the like being somebody in the 1930s. I can definitely picture my science fiction loving child self sitting in the theaters, even though it's 1930s. We're not gonna talk about how that would have been possible. But I can
Not the front row.
I mean, I'd probably have to fight tooth and nail to get in there, but I can definitely see myself watching this movie, as a teenager, as a young adult, and being just absolutely blown away by the technological advances of this movie. And I know my imagination would be just going wild on how did they do that? How did they make that? How did they make the bike? The bicycle, roll down the lane, with nobody riding on it, and then being flung at somebody. I thought they did a really good job of showing um, Jack Griffin invisible, but made visible to us, um, and like all of the little side pranks whenever he was invisible and manipulating things. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant.
I cosign all of that. All of that. Now, I sort of described my opinion of Claude Rains as the Invisible Man. What did you all think of him? What did you think of his voice? What did you think of? I mean, in essence, that's really all we have, right? We have his voice. But
Yeah,
did we like his voice as the Invisible Man? Did it work for you, especially as he became more and more maniacal?
I think it did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely worked for me. He definitely, I liked his voice. Yeah, as he got more and more crazed, it was definitely working.
Well, it is especially without the visual cues of facial expression. Um,
Mm.
we did get a lot of like when he was bandaged up, we did get a good amount of body language, but with like a lot of people, a lot of emotion is displayed on the face, and without having some of those visual cues there, like he would say a joke, and the only reason why we knew it was a joke is because he would laugh afterwards, or like whenever he was just downright mean to
Yeah.
what was that dude's name?
Kemp.
Well,
Which
I
one?
mean,
Kemp.
Yeah,
Camp ain't shit. I'm sorry. Like,
he's not, but
he could be mean to Kemp.
but it was like he was it was strange because it was like some of the things that he would say was it was very direct, very like, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this, and you got to do this, like follow it to the T. And then he would say something that would be just absolutely just like if I was in Kim's shoes, I would have been like, wait, what did you say to me? Can you repeat that last thing? Like Griffin had a way of saying what he needed to say, and I thought it was brilliant because, like I said, without facial expression, you wouldn't be able to tell like what what kind of emotion was behind what was said.
Which is why I can see the point of having a voice that could enunciate properly, because you need to be able to get the scene without being able to see a face. Because
you gotta convey that menace. And
Yeah.
he was able.
Or even when Flora came by, you could tell like a completely different shift in the type of person that he was just through his voice, and I thought that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
'Tis true, yes. All right, Legionnaire. We have been doing this for a moment, not just here on summer camp, but we've been podcasting in general for a moment. So I feel like you know me. So when I ask you this question, I feel like you should know the answer. Who was my favorite character in this movie?
Who was your favorite character? I don't know. I wanna say the innkeeper's wife.
Yes. Shout out to 1930s Cloris Leachman, because that's what she was giving me.
Oh, she was a hoot.
Her name is Una O'Connor. She played Jenny Hall, the wife of Mr. Hall, who owned the hall, and she gave me life.
Oh my God! When she said it is going to be him or me that clears out of this building, like the way that she said it, I was like, yeah, that man has 24 hours. She is not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I loved her. I loved her screams. I loved how she was like, how dare him talk to me like that? I love when she freaked out when she saw him with the bandages. I love when she ran after her husband. Yeah, she was everything to me. Like, she cracked me up. She was perfect. And from what I read, BTS wise, when she would do her rants and stuff on screen, like everybody in the crew like had to like hold in the laughter because she would just be going off.
I wonder if some of that was ad-libbed.
Maybe. She was brilliant. I need to find me some more Una O'Connor because she was good. Now, we also referenced Flora, and for those of us of the modern day era, even for the one of us that's Gen Z, we should know who Flora is. She is Gloria Stewart of
Kristen Stewart's mom?
Yeah.
Grandma?
Deidre would love that.
Right.
Gloria Stewart of Titanic.
Who?
That's our girl Rose.
Oh.
Old Rose.
Oh.
She threw the heart of the diamond back into the ocean after that man had spent all that money to look for it.
But Britney Spears' love interest just found it and brought it back to her. But no,
Aw, you shouldn't have.
yeah. But yeah. I mean, sometimes you can't tell when someone looks like when they're old.
Yeah. I mean, now that I'm looking at a photo of her right now and she looks like I can tell it's her. I couldn't tell it was her. I mean, I knew because, I read it and I was like, oh shit, that's her. But I couldn't really tell in the movie. Like, this was very early on in her career. It's going to sound funny to say this, but this was like her 14th movie, but it was because she was a part of the studio cycle in the 30s. And so they were pumping out movies incredibly fast back in the day. And this was within her first like year of being in Hollywood. And so, yeah, I mean, it was early on in her career.
14 movies in 1 year.
Yeah. She was on and popping.
They don't do that anymore. They definitely don't do that anymore.
No.
Well, Marvel doesn't.
It's like a 5-year project for movies nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I mean, we're still waiting on sequels for things.
You're right, Romeo and Michelle. Thank you.
I was referring to Big Hero 6.
Oh, that too. Well, they made a series, but anyway.
Yeah, but not a sequel.
Okay, all right.
And we all know how I feel about sequels.
Well, yeah, that's why it's strange that you're demanding for it.
That's your feelings about sequels are Street Lives.
Anyway, moving on. Okay, so we had Flora, who was pretty much damsel in distress, right? Pining over her man.
She was strong. She was a strong, independent woman.
She was a strong, independent woman.
I
All
would
my
call
ladies
that
who are
vibe.
independent, throw your hands up at me. What? No,
I mean, she seemed like she could handle her own.
I don't know. She was waiting on her man. She was pining for her man. And poor Kemp, who was apparently sprung, clearly could not read the room.
I don't think he knew how to read. Period.
Oh, because she was clearly swiping left on him and swiping right on Griffin.
I feel like she told him multiple times, like, "Dude, you are not my type." Like, and that's the reason why I get the independent woman vibe from her. Like, I feel like she would have told him numerous times, like, "Stay out of my DMs, dude. just stop, please. This is awkward."
Right? Yeah, but he could not. He could not. He could not at all. He just couldn't. Poor man. He had no clue. That's why I'm not down with Kemp, because clearly she was pining over Griffin, even though he has disappeared, but he was still trying to, like, slide into the DMs. And, yeah, I found everything that Griffin did to him. I was like, I don't really feel bad for you, because you're kind of like a piece of shit.
He definitely deserved.
Wow.
Yeah. Now let's talk about all of Griffin's shenanigans. From the inn to the village. So he ends up renting a room in the inn, right? Because he's going to do his experiment, because he's made himself invisible, but he's trying to... I don't really understood why he had to escape, disappear to, like, find the visibility thing, right? Like, he could have just left a note saying, I'm on vacation and he's invisible. He could, he can do his testing at night when people aren't there. And anyway, but then we would not have had a movie, right? But yeah, he's trying to reverse the invisibility to become visible again. And then he, in his maniacal ways, because one of the drugs that he used to make himself invisible apparently causes insanity. He wants to sell this to the highest bidder, the country that pays the most and all that kind of stuff, so they can have invisible warriors and all that kind of stuff, whatever. So he holds himself up in the inn and he starts doing his experiments, but then as we discussed with old girl Ms. Hall, he causes a ruckus, he offends the lady, he curses at her in a very 1930s kind of way. And then he gets kicked out, and he freaks everybody out by taking off his clothes. But they can't see anything because he's invisible. And so then we get the antics in the inn room. I should say not the hotel room, but it's an inn. You know what I'm saying? And all of that is just a marvel in 1930s special effects, right? From him being invisible and we only see like the nightshirt running, to him knocking the guys out, choking them out. There was a lot of choking in the 1930s.
I mean, I guess that was the effective way of bringing somebody down.
Right, and now people get choked willingly.
Was I supposed to comment on that?
No. Well, I mean, if you got the experience.
I mean, we did see it in Flash Gordon. There was a lot of invisible chokes.
Yes, they loved invisible chokes in the 30s.
I mean, it's one of the it's one of the, I guess, the acting skill of you're being attacked by someone unseen. Because I know I wouldn't be able to. I mean, I've never been choked. So I wouldn't be able to act
allegedly
being choked by someone unseen. I'm gonna stop talking.
All right. Yes, let's try not to incriminate ourselves.
Right?
All right. Okay. So a lot of people getting choked out. People jumping through windows. Like, I mean, it was a whole situation.
Oh my God, the stroller. That man is a menace.
I know, the child or the doll that was in there. That poor little doll.
I saw him pick up the stroller and I was like, you wouldn't. Why would you? Oh my God.
That
You're a
poor old
menace.
man with his hat.
Yeah, that was just mean.
That was mean and unruly. Too damn much.
Oh my God. I do want to go back to Mrs. Hall, like one of her reactions to the Invisible Man. I loved when she jumped on the table like it was a rat.
Yeah, yes, that was funny.
Like she knew it was the Invisible Man, but she jumped up on the table like it was like a rat running around or a mouse or some shit.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, I reckon.
Oh my Lord. Oh, and one of my notes, I know what it's referring to, but the would you could you on a train. That's what my note says. One of his shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the little train set that derailed?
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to, make everything disbelievable.
Oh, ruin the movie magic. I'm sorry. It was cute though. I loved it. He had the idea, right?
Like that's one of the reasons why I mentioned it, because I was like, okay, we got the him sneaking in, changing the tracks. You got the train coming down the track, and I was like, okay, like this is really cinematic magic right here.
Yes. No,
And,
it was cute.
For it to like derail and crash, like that, like I put myself in the 1930s, and okay, that looks believable. I can suck that in as
yeah, he was
special effects.
That was very menacing.
Yes. And he had explained that that's what he wanted to do, right? Like that was his idea, and so he was able to accomplish his goals.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely one of the things he wanted to do.
Yes.
On his list.
Oh wait, go ahead.
No, it's just on his to-do list.
Yes, he checked it off. Like Santa. Make the list, check it twice. Yeah. Murder Santa. That would be Terrifier 3, y'all. But anyway, speaking of terrifying things, let's talk about body counts. How many people died because of the Invisible Man's maniacal ways?
Well, we can count
this is a guessing game. Price's Right rules are applied. So let's see who gets closest to it. How many people did the Invisible Man kill? Osiris?
I will say, 473.
Okay, we've got 473. Legionnaire, give me a much more realistic answer, please.
The train had a lot of people on it.
I don't know. Yeah, that train would have had a lot of people on it.
They did say how many people were on the train in the movie. I'm just saying.
Oh, wow. Then I missed that. I don't know. I'll say 140.
Okay, we got 140. Parker?
What was that last number?
140.
140?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say 1.
Okay. Price is Right rules, right?
So you're counting the train as one kill?
Okay, so unfortunately, two of you have overbid. So that means Parker does win. The total is 122 people died. There were 100. Yes! There were 100 people on the train.
Yes. Going out there. Oh,
yes. What? You're going to the Showcase Showdown. Yeah, don't worry. And in total, 123 people died because, well, Invisible Man died.
Not counting the actual murder
I was really hoping for like the bulk of that number. Well, I mean, the bulk of the number did come from the train.
Yeah, 100.
Mm.
They don't make trains like they used to anymore.
No, they don't make trains like they used to.
No.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Could be. Yeah.
I mean, considering the American infrastructure, I'm sure those trains from the 1930s are still in service.
Oh, well, you know,
Well.
potentially. All right, let's talk about Griffin's plan, because Griffin ends up escaping from the inn and ventures to Kemp's home. And there he basically threatens Kemp into working with him. Basically, he's like, you are my partner, and we're going to cause a ruckus, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to derail trains, we're going to steal, we're going to do all the things, basically is what he's saying. And at a certain point, I will, use your lab, and I'm going to create a cure, and then, I might turn you invisible, and then I might turn you uninvisible, and I'm going to get invisible again, and then I'm not going to be invisible. Like, he had this whole plan with Kemp, in which he's forcing Kemp to become an accomplice. A few murders here and there. Why not, right?
Yeah, just to, just as a little something to do.
Exactly. Now, we heard Osiris's opinions about Kemp, which they were positive. For the rest of us, did we like Kemp?
Wait, were they positive?
Well, positive adjacent.
Mm. Well, I think to my taste, he rolled over way too easily. Because I mean, he had, Griffin had far more disadvantages that he could have taken advantage of. I mean, the fact of the matter is that man had to, he had to maneuver through life and town naked in the cold. So I'm sorry,
Right.
That's something you could have worked there. So motherfucker, if you want to chase me through the cold naked, then catch me, goddammit.
Right?
To the cold naked.
I'm sorry. I mean, come on.
And all Kemp needed to do was go to the kitchen and get some flour and throw the flour on him.
Right.
We wouldn't have a movie. We have to have a movie.
No, that is true.
Hot grease.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to be reasonably stupid in order to have a movie.
Hot grease would have been better than flour.
Well, no, because
Well,
you have to figure out where he
more
is first. Then you can do the hot grease in the Tyler Perry way.
I mean, I would have done both. Just country fried.
Country
fried his ass off. No.
Mm-mm-mm.
Because he with all the burns, I imagine he's not going anywhere.
Right.
Well, yeah, he'd be crispy.
That's the point.
Yeah. But unfortunately, they did not do that. But there was a mass panic in the countryside. People even in the dance halls were learning about it.
Mm.
Yeah, 1930s discotheques.
Discotheque.
And the people were giving up some really good ideas on how to catch them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you got 1,000 pounds as the reward, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is in modern day, but I would guess, what would 1,000 pounds be in modern day money? Like $10,000, maybe?
I don't know. Why don't you tell us, Mr. Disciple, version?
I know. I would say it's probably, maybe it's $15,000.
Okay.
In today's accounting, I would say that's probably more around $100,000.
See, I was close.
Right. 15 and 100 are definitely close numbers. Okay, prices.
Thank you, Legionnaire, for the mathematical analysis. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes. No, but that's a good little chump change. I mean, they ruined that man's barn. I mean, he needed the money to replace it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they gave him a lot of good ideas. I love the panic. I love the one scene where he's running with just trousers on, and that hefty lady was running away,
running for her life.
I'm like, Big Mama, what are you doing outside at 10 p.m.? This is why no one should be out after 10. You don't know what kind of crazy shit you're going to see in the 1930s in the
That's
English
right.
countryside. Let's talk about law enforcement. That one poor man from that little town.
Oh, that poor constable or whatever he was supposed to be.
Yes. And then the, I don't know, the sergeant, we'll call it. He didn't believe him. He's like, you made me trek into nowhere land for nothing. That was until he got, well, choked out. And
Yeah.
and then poor law enforcement, they were just bumbling throughout this whole thing. I love what they tried to do. I love when they like had that secret meeting and they had like a net and they're like, let's walk across the room just to make sure he's not here. I mean, it was smart though, but still
Yeah.
kind of bumbling.
That was actually rather clever.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
Mm.
Yeah. It's too much. Now, let's talk about the love in this movie. We've got Jack and Flora. And Osiris referenced that when Jack was with Flora, that he did soften a little bit. That was until he started talking about what he could do with the invisibility. And he went all full like Mussolini and was like, you know, I'm going to sell it to the highest bidder and I don't care who they are. And I'm going to have all this money and I'm going to have all this power because I'm invisible. They won't see me coming.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, and you're going to fall in love with me because I'm going to be rich and powerful.
Mm.
And then that look that she gave him, I hope he was able to read the room.
It was much like a homegirl from The Day the Earth Stood Still. Remember when the dude was like, I'm going to be on the cover of the newspaper and you're going to love me then. You're going to marry me then. And she was pretty much like, no.
Yeah, good luck with that.
The look on her face was like, you just fumbled. You just fumbled.
Yes. But she was still in Team Jack all the way to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what can you do?
She was hopeful. She was definitely hopeful.
Yeah.
She was hopeful. So was her father. I mean, they really wanted to help him. Dr. Cranley. Like, they really wanted to help Jack. Even though, I mean, he was a murderous psychopath, killing a damn near 400 people, according to Osiris.
I mean, there was a lot of people.
Yeah.
He killed a lot of people.
He did. People's died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's talk about how Kemp dies.
Hmm.
Because Kemp was worried for his life, right? Because when somebody tells you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. I'm murdering you, you know, when you make an appointment with death, it's kind of spooky. And so the police tried to help him. They were initially going to take him into custody, in essence, and put him, like, lock him up in a cell and all that kind of stuff. But he didn't want to do that because he was freaked out that the Invisible Man was still going to get him, even under police custody. So they had this whole thing where they were going to trot him to the police station, but he was going to dress up as one of the police, and they were going to drive him home, and he was going to drive out into the countryside and stay there until he hears word that the Invisible Man is dead, right? Well,
It was a solid plan. It was a really
solid
good plan.
plan, but then
Yeah.
Jack ends up following them, sees everything, rides back on the hood of the car, invisible, and then kidnaps Kemp, hog ties him, and basically it was very Penelope pit stop. Help! Like,
Help!
yes. Jack was the hooded claw, and he ends up faking an accident. Although you can't really fake it. You know, it's not like one of those situations like we've seen in movies where it's like, you know, they pour the bottles and they, you know, put them in the driver's seat and they drive off, right? Because Kemp is in the passenger seat. But we see a little toy car roll over some, you know, toy hills, and it explodes really fast. The 1930s cars exploded fast.
Mm.
I mean,
Burst into
just
flames.
metal and gasoline.
Yes. So Kemp is dead, although none of us will miss him. Maybe Osiris, because he said some nice things about him.
No, I mean, he had it coming.
For so long.
I mean, all he had to do is not be a rat.
He was a rat.
he would have survived so much longer if he would have not been around.
Although most rats do survive.
That you do have a point.
Yeah. But anyway. Okay, so Kemp is dead. So now the police end up getting a good idea on how to capture Jack because it's cold, it's starting to snow. Jack finds a barn. He nestles himself under some hay. The farmer finds him. The farmer, for some reason, ran really fast, even though he was very old, and made it to the police station and reports it. And so they are going to circle the barn. They're going to set the barn ablaze. They promise the man £1,000 if, everything goes well. And so Jack escapes. We see his feet print in the snow, and he gets shot. And apparently it hits both his lungs, which I don't know how that was possible because it looked like he just shot him, straight ahead. But anyway,
I mean,
movie magic.
Using the footprints, he could have gauged like, okay, I need to shoot in this direction.
Oh, to pierce both of his lungs.
That was lucky. Like
Now, sorry,
to hit something so vital, that was lucky. He was just aiming center mass, allegedly.
We'll just call it movie magic.
Sir,
Yes.
the lies that you just spoke out your mouth
What do you mean?
were just complete. Like, no, sir.
I've shot firearms. Like it's possible to
You
shoot
have
the
but
general
your name
area.
is Oasis, sir.
Yeah. Can we give a shout out to that poor cat that got inked?
No. Talking about animal cruelty. That was terrible.
Do we think the
No
cat
animals
died?
were harmed filming this movie. I think that's a lie.
No, but
No.
whoever had to give that cat a bath, oof, man.
I know. God bless him.
Yes. That was, can I just say the comedy of it though? Like the animal cruelty, yes, but the comedy of it before, because they all thought the Invisible Man was there and they were like, I hear naked feet prints outside. I was like, what the hell is that supposed to sound like?
Right.
Yes, but then the poor
You
cat.
guys never heard Naked Footprints?
Naked, yes, on the other side of a stone wall.
Stonewall. Sir, we're talking about a different.
Yes, no, not stone wall.
No.
But then the cat was traipsing up the thing and dropped some soot on the man, and then he freaking sprayed the cat. Although I will say the whole idea of them having, like, I don't know if that was ink. I forget what they said it was. Was it ink?
Yes.
Okay.
It was
But having ink guns, like almost like paintball type of thing, to like spray the Invisible Man, like that was brilliant. Like, I don't know why they didn't have one of those ink guns in the damn snow, but I guess they felt that they could see the feet print and that kind of thing. But, and for him, like, I get it. It's the end of the movie, and so they have to kill the man and all that kind of stuff. But he was traipsing way too slow in that snow. But I guess he was probably freezing to death because he's butt naked.
and caught off guard by the snow. I thought it was like a freak snowstorm.
Yeah, it was a freak snowstorm. They said it might be gone in like a couple hours. But yeah, that poor cat though, because that cat got hosed with the ink. That was a white cat that turned into a black cat immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Janet. Jack.
Janice?
Oh.
Who?
Joplin.
Yes. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, black cat Janet. Yes, now I get it. Okay. All right. Control. Anyway, you know who was out of control? Poor Griffin, because he ended up getting shot in both of his lungs. How that happened, nobody knows. But so I was trying to explain it, but Parker didn't believe it, and I don't really either. And Legionnaire is skeptical, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah. And so they
Did
pick
you-
up his naked body and they take him to the hospital and they clothe him. And but he's he's far gone, right? Like he's about to die. He's just got a few moments left, and he was calling for the doctor and for Flora. So they both go to see him. And yeah, and they said basically that drug that was in him that was making him maniacal, that would dissipate, as he dies. So basically, he would go from invisible to visible. And he did in a really neat kind of way. We saw his skull first, and then we saw his face. And this is all we saw of Claude Rains in the movie as a visible person. It was a neat little effect, right?
I thought so.
I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, this film actually spawned, dare I say, a film series. There's this movie, The Invisible Man. Then there is The Invisible Man Returns in the year 1940. Then after that, in 1940, it's The Invisible Woman. Then in 1942, The Invisible Agent. Then in 1944, The Invisible Man's Revenge. And then the one that everyone expects in 1951, Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man.
After he's gotten his revenge.
Yes. Well, after he gets his revenge, then he's ready for comedy.
Gotta like the food.
So now Abbott and Costello would have been dead.
That's the only way to rehabilitate a villain is to, make them funny.
Yeah, you need Abbott and Costello to make him funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or the Three Stooges.
That would have been interesting to watch.
The Three Stooges meet the Invisible Man.
It wouldn't have been. It would have been the same episode as every other episode.
Them just running around and opening and closing doors.
Exactly. Like it would just been another episode. Let's be
honest. Yes. Before we scream lights out, let's hand out some camp superlatives. I was going to say this one. The Scream Queen.
Jenny Hall.
Yes.
Miss Hall. Miss Hall.
The Diva.
Kip.
No.
Well, Kemp gets she ain't a diva.
That was coming up next. Yes, Kemp gets that one. But the Diva, come on, the Invisible Man.
Yeah, Jack.
The Ingenue. Miss Hall?
Flora.
Okay, good. The Stunt Queen.
The Invisible Man.
Yes.
Yeah, Jack.
Can I just say, when he snuck all that money out the bank where nobody noticed that all that money was disappearing, and then he just threw it out to the peoples, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Chaos. The Pink of Perfection.
Camp.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go with Camp, yeah.
The Kill of the Night.
The Kill of the Night.
The Train.
Yeah, I would say The Train.
Okay, well that was 100 people. Yeah.
Yeah, taking out.
But just the flip of a switch.
Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly.
The Read of the Night. Was there a good read that Jack did to Kemp?
Oh, that little fireside chat that they
FDR.
had, and then ended it with you were gonna do this, and this and this. Because in my notes I was like, man, that man didn't even say please or thank you or anything. He just
The most actiony moment.
The first set of shenanigans.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the bar, the bicycle,
and the townsfolk. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best usage of a cheesy special effect.
Ooh. I think I have a top 3 for that one.
Yeah, I mean, because for me, it was always the unveiling was always remarkable for me. Every time he unveiled his invisibility, I keep thinking how cool that was for the 30s.
Yeah, that's definitely in my top 3. The way that it looked whenever we got a partial invisible or him being invisible and something there to show him being there. The shirt, the bandages, but removing the bandages, the pants. The other ones for me is the train. I like I said, yes, it was definitely a model train that fell off of a toy mountain. However, it was done visually, cinematically to make it believable. And then the other cheesy effects that I liked, the reappearance
Mm,
at the end.
yeah, that was cool.
I co-sign all of that. I thought all of the effects were really, really impressive for the 1930s.
Yeah, exactly.
Before I ask what marshmallows you're giving in regards to rating this movie, I do want to ask really quick, if you could be invisible, what would you do?
Jerk it.
Okay. Can I just say, since you're saying that, I was like, his poor penis. Like, he's just running around. What if it gets caught on something? And he's British, so he's got the foreskin.
I mean, the foreskin was at least protecting the head from that extreme cold.
Oh,
However,
yeah. That was
that
the only
metal of
thing
the
it was
car-
protecting.
Mm-hmm.
like the metal of the car on his penis, you know that penis was gone after.
And
that
his
car
butt
ride.
cheeks?
Mm.
And the
Baby.
freezing?
Baby, like, hey,
Yeah, I'm surprised it was
Right?
just, you couldn't see, like, yeah, the hay. Oh, God. That's a lot.
like, no, like,
Like, no. Yeah.
like, I'll pass. First off, if I were gonna be invisible, I would need to have a way to also have clothing while I'm invisible.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
give me
Exactly.
Reed Richards. Reed Richards, I need you to help me out. Make me a suit, sweetie, okay? Because I need to have clothing while I'm invisible. All right, even if it's just one pair of clothing, girl, I need to have it.
Okay, give me. You need to work on some unstable molecule something because I gotta have a point, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I need to have clothing. I don't need to have underwear. Just a single one-piece suit. That's fine.
Exactly.
That's all I need.
A decent singlet with some footwear, and I'm good.
All right now.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people sort of, when they think of invisibility, they immediately go to, like, I would go to the bank and I would rob and all this kind of stuff. But you know what would be, like, the most brilliant thing if you...
How would you rob? Baby, you can still see the money.
I know. No, that is true. But I think the most brilliant thing that you could do if you can become invisible, right? Be a private investigator.
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing that you could do. Like, you could be one of the most successful private investigators ever. You become invisible.
Successful dick ever.
Yes. You become invisible. You get a camera that looks like a fly and you put it on your forehead. And so it looks like a fly, moving around. Then you can record stuff. You can, get all the evidence, take pictures of the evidence. Like, that would be probably the best thing you could do if you could become invisible, become a private detective, and always get all the evidence you need.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably just do pranks on people.
Really?
I mean, just something lighthearted.
Lighthearted? What do you mean?
Mm.
Again, so long as I had a suit, there's really nothing that I couldn't do. So
Yeah.
pretty much. I mean, if I also had so I know I said all I need is a suit. Also, give me like some type of bag, a small throw bag.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So
A
you can
little
put stuff in, then it's invisible too,
Right.
like diamonds and pearls.
Yeah. Give me a little handbag, something I can, Real Housewives it on my
Yeah.
between my in that gooch area between your elbow. I can just hold it there.
Yes, the gooch.
And just like, have things in there that's also invisible.
You could put a little Sabrina Carpenter in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
She's
maybe
tiny.
espresso. Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so now it's time to rate the film. Let's gather around the campfire to toast some marshmallows. We're going to rate this film on a 1 to 10 marshmallow scale. Let's start off with Parker.
Oh, well, because of the movie magic alone, it automatically gets 2 extra stars from what I was originally going to give it, just because I've seen it before. But it's going to get 7 marshmallows. The movie magic was great. Like, I'm still kind of in awe that that's what they did in the 1930s. Good for y'all. Good for y'all. Whoever that wizard was that was on that set. Good magic. Good magic. Good job, Dumbledore. So yeah, 7 marshmallows. It was a good movie. In comparison to the newest Invisible Man, which was still also a good movie. Yeah, Seven Marshmallows peaked. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it, and even though the sequels that followed were all absolute garbage, well, at least the couple that I saw, this movie alone was pretty good, especially given the time frame it came out. Seven marshmallows. Let's put them in the shape of, actually, seven invisible marshmallows.
Clever, clever, clever. Oh, Osiris.
I would like to co-sign with the 7. The movie magic was definitely my favorite part of this. You know, this is definitely in the I guess the archives of science fiction. I don't know what to call it, like where science fiction movies kind of birthed with, like special effects and stuff. I would like to shape the marshmallows as, you know what? Mine are going to be invisible as well, but they're going to be sprayed with ink.
Okay, so inedible.
Well, it's not really actual ink.
Oh, okay.
It's food coloring to make it look like ink.
Oh.
So that you can see the marshmallows.
Okay.
But see that they're invisible.
All right. That works for me. I like it. Since you mentioned something that triggered a memory, I forgot to reference that in 2008, The Invisible Man was selected for the U.S. National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. Legionnaire, what about you? How will you rate The Invisible Man?
Well, before I give my scoring, I want to give a quick shout out to Henry Travers, who played Dr. Cranley, but is famously known for having played Clarence Oddbody in our Christmas classic, It's a Wonderful Life. So I just needed to shout that out. I thought that was very cool. But yeah, this was a great movie for its time. The effects were great. I love the reasoning behind the selection of Claude Rains in the lead role. Our girl, our Scream Queen gave me life. So yeah, this one gets 8 marshmallows in the shape of fake nose covering. There we go.
Yes. Oh, do you think that's... No, let me stop.
Stop.
Yes, you know where I'm going, Parker. Hee hee.
Didn't I just say stop, girl?
I tried.
It just kept on going. Just kept on going.
Yes. Okay, all right. I will co-sign with the 8. Our girl, Miss Hall, was everything. Claude Rains, spectacular. The voice was so good. Maybe that's where Oprah got the whole thing of the voice. You know, he was the voice, the original voice, wasn't he? No, maybe not. But great voice, very actiony, very violent in a good way. But the Invisible Man got what was coming to him. So did Kemp, because Kemp was a piece of shit. But anyway, 8 marshmallows that are I can't really think of anything. So just 8 just really delicious marshmallows, because y'all have done, invisible, y'all already done that. But so yeah, just 8 jumbo puff marshmallows. There you go. All right. On that note, it's time for everyone to report back to their cabins. Your bunk beds are waiting for you. Join us next time for a brand new installment of Summer Camp. Here's one of our campers on our PA system with a few announcements.
Thank you for the intro, and sorry for the microphone feedback. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/PCR Summercamp. Follow Poppy Chula Radio on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @Poppy Chula Radio. Do you have any questions, suggestions, comments, or concerns? Email us via contact@poppychularadio.com. Are you interested in joining the Poppy Chula Radio team as an on-air personality or blog contributor? Email talent@poppychularadio.com. Binge listen to your favorite Poppy Chula Radio programs by visiting poppychularadio.com/archives. You can also download tonight's broadcast and the rest of the series through iTunes. Just search for Poppy Chula Radio Summer Camp and subscribe. Back to you, camp counselors. Oh, not again. Sorry for the feedback.
Thank you. My fellow camp counselors, please wish our campers and the listeners a good night, starting off with Legionnaire,
Good night, campers. Be well. Stay safe out there.
Parker,
Good night, campers.
and Osiris.
Come along now. Come quietly. Unless you want me to put the handcuffs on.
Thanks for tuning in. Good night and lights out.